I was looking through a magazine one day, and I saw that this fellow had skied off El Capitan and then opened a parachute.
We discussed it, and I said, but is that possible?
Well, let's find this guy.
People have defined adventure as something having a large element of the unknown, and the unknown could kill you.
So we went to out to California, got a hold of Rick, and it turned out that he'd actually never done it.
He didn't actually ski off the mountain, but he very quickly said, but I could do it, and I know where I can do it.
He said, I can do it up in Mount Asgard in the Arctic Circle, but we can only be there for 6 weeks. All the rest of the time it's snowed in.
They sensed that it was going to be too expensive.
None of us were totally convinced. That's why we went out to Canada on that initial survey. And we went to the actual mountain, and we landed on the mountain, and we did all the tests that we could do. And I kept looking at him and saying, are you sure you can do this, Rick? And he said, oh, yes, I can do it, you know.
They did this test footage of me standing on the edge of that sheer cliff in a bright red parka. That test footage came out so spectacular.
We went back with this footage, and Lewis and Cubby and the head of United Artists, Dan Risner, disappeared into the theatre, looked at our material, and we waited outside. We weren't allowed in. And they came out after 10 minutes and they said, do it.
This was way in advance of the beginning of the film, and Lewis Gilbert's idea was, well, if that doesn't work, we'll have plenty of time to figure out something else.
Well, sure enough, the weather gets bad. And for a couple of days, people sit around, nothing's happening.
And the money kept getting more and more expensive, and they were clouded in.
And now the calls start coming in from London as the costs keep mounting. Has he done it yet?
Studios calling up asking what the hell's happening, and why are you ever going to do this?
Finally, Cubby said, I've got to call. I have a feeling this boy has decided not to do it. It's a very dangerous stunt.
In the end, it's only a movie, so we don't want anyone to be killed or injured. So Cubby did call up Rick.
And he said, look, Rick, if you have changed your mind about doing this stunt, you come down. There's no film in the world worth your life. And he said, Cubby, I'm only waiting for the wind.
And sure enough, the mountain's clear. The storm is ending. There's clouds swirling all about, but there's no winds, amazingly.
I was up there in a white suit with a red flag. I said to Rick, don't go until this red flag is buried in the snow. Whatever you hear on the radio, or whatever you think you hear, because there's so many terrible stories, aren't there, of things going wrong. The last thing I said to him was, go, Rick. Don't forget you're James Bond. And I shoved the flag in the snow and buried myself in the snow.
Now, there was one problem. The master shot, the camera and the helicopter, they missed me.
There were 4 or 5 cameras on it. And, the first one, he skied over the top of the camera, and the guy lost him. So that didn't bode well. And then we had another one where the guy lost him. But there was one camera angle that took him all the way off and zoomed in and followed him all the way down. And it was one take and uncut, just one camera.
Christopher Wood came up with what I think was the masterstroke, which when the parachute opened, there was the Union Jack, which always brought the house down.
All over the world, whenever I saw the movie, instead of people howling and throwing stones at the Union Jack, they were bursting into a spontaneous applause, which was kind of satisfactory.